Welcome, welcome, welcome. 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, hello. This is the reading for Capricorn, April. Can you believe it? April 2023. Cappy, this one is for you. So we start the month of April off with the usual, which is an ending and a closure. So before we get into that, we're going to go over a little bit of the Capricorn energy. I had just gotten a comment from somebody. It was really more like a question on the channel. And I wanted to incorporate it into this video because it explains things about Capricorn energy that might not always be included, okay? So when we talk about Capricorn energy, I want to go over the sign, the ruler, right? Ruler of Capricorn, Saturn, right? Saturn is about time, a long period of time, okay? So Capricorn energy is interested in building something that is going to last for a long period of time. Yeah, you see I'm searching for my pen. Oh, right under me. So Capricorn is all about like going up that ladder, right? It climbs that ladder. And it knows that the way it climbs, it's not into climbing, horizontally necessarily. It is always going to be focused on growth, but going in an upward fashion, right? It doesn't care to do that. Sometimes in its life, it has to do that. It has to go where it feels like it's not really going, it's not elevating. It's just going horizontally, right? And that could be necessary. There's times where we have to go horizontal. Like I had to go there. I had to go there to get to there. You see? And so that happens. That's normal and that's natural. So typically, because Capricorn is so goal orientated, and not just goal orientated, but they're willing to put in the work, and they're serious about it, right? I remember when I was, one of the jobs that I had, it was my job to hire people. And I know I've told this story on the channel before, but normally, at least for me anyway, I found out, and it wasn't because I was using astrology, not consciously anyway, right? I was strictly going by people handing in resumes and then sitting down and having like interviews, like that process, trying to have a rapport with people just to get a feel for who they were, right? Because anybody can write anything down on a resume. So you're sitting down and you're talking and you're presenting scenarios and asking questions and then trying to see if how they can engage, because the job that we did was working with customers, right? Customers. And so it was important that they would be able to engage with people in a meaningful way, but in a efficient way, right? Like take care of it, hear their needs and get it taken care of type of stuff. So I bring this up because one particular time I was like rehiring an entire new crew. And I kept thinking, okay, I knew what I needed. Like I had a clear vision of what I needed. Anyway, I ended up hiring the people, no problem. Everything worked out really, really well. And sometime later, I was talking to somebody and we were discussing, how long that particular crew had been there, and because everybody seemed to kind of like get along and worked out really well. And I remember thinking, wow, that was really like one of the most outstanding crews I've ever had, or that I've had the honor to work with, really, because it was just like everybody worked. Everybody worked, and they didn't need to be babysat. When they were on the job, if they didn't know what else next to do, they would come and ask, or they would find things to do. They were there to work, and they didn't mind working. It wasn't like, oh my God, we got to do that next. It was just like, what's next? Like they were all about, okay, let's get through this. Let's do this, And so anyhow, it worked out being really wonderful. It just was a really great fit. So out of my curiosity one day, I started looking, because when I would be hiring, I was hiring people who sometimes were like college student or, last couple of years in high school. So I started looking at the months, like their actual birthday, Because prior to that, I just had to make sure they were legal, make sure they were the correct age. They had to be 16 and older. Well, it turned out that crew, they were all Capricorns. They were all Capricorns. And that wasn't by design, right? It ended up being that way based on their answers, based on their history, based on their resume, and then based on my what I observed in the interview. You follow? But then it was sometime later after I sat back and thought, wow, this was an amazing crew. It worked out really great. Like, what was special? What was significant there? Like, how can I duplicate that? Right. And yeah, they were all Capricorn birthdays. And so it was really quite amazing because Capricorns aren't afraid to work, right? And they also know how to take charge if need be. So they can take charge of themselves, right? And so they are about things being, they should like make sense. They have a sense of quality and of value and structure and organizing and being professional. But there's more. But wait, there's more. Capricorn energy is their goals. Like these people weren't at the job that I was at because they wanted to stay there. They weren't planning on being there and making a career of it. No, that job was a stepping stone. It was a stepping stone, right? It worked out great for people who were like their first couple of years in college when they were on summer break or Christmas break, they would come back and it just worked out really, really, it was a beautiful fit because when they came home, we were busy. And when they would go back to school, we were slow. Like it followed the seasons, right? So it was a wonderful fit. But they were there at that stepping stone job because they were trying to get to their goal, to their long-term goal. And so sometimes you got to go this way, sometimes it's this way, and sometimes you're able to springboard, right? And go way up high to get to that goal. So on the way there, what is that ultimate goal? Some people think it's the career, it's the job, and it can be. But what else? What else? Back in the day, remember? I mean, depends upon what I'm talking about when I say back in the day. But there was a time when either the man or the woman had to be considered, had to be established, right? Had to have their means, had to have their stuff together. They had to have assets. They had to have resources before they would be eligible, before they would be considered to be marriage material. Aside from the personality and the compatibility, they had to have this stuff. So for many people, it was like, if I could just get that car, or I should go like this, if I could just get that car, I'll get the girl. You see, if I could just get my stuff together and have my career established, then I could marry and have a family. So it's really quite personal. It's really quite personal because for many people, the end to their means isn't just the job. Don't get me wrong, for some it is. But for many people, it's more than that. It's the big picture. It's what comes after that. And that's Capricorn energy. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about that because there was some questions about, is it just your career, right? Is it just that? Is that all it's about? Capricorn can be so much more. So never underestimate Capricorn energy. And if somebody tells you one particular thing about it, remember your free will, your soul power, your desire can bend that energy and can bend it beyond what any astrologer, beyond what any astrologer can tell you can be. And that's truth. Okay. So now we'll get into April. We have a full moon on the 5th, April 5th. Now, this month is very significant for Capricorns and Libras and Cancers and, Aries energy. This is a cardinal month. All right. So this first full moon, it's a completion, it's an ending, it's a closure. And it happens in the sign of Libra, which is significant one-on-one relationships, right? Now, this is a big deal for Capricorns because Libra energy for Capricorn is going to be in your 10th house. Now, I just talked about Saturn. I just talked about Capricorn, the first 7 minutes of the video. Everything I just talked about was 10th house energy. So I did mention career. I did mention job. I did mention goals, duty, responsibility. Like I got to do this to get to here. So it's structure, right? It's tangible security. It's all those things. 10th house is all those things I just talked about. It's a completion and it's ending and it's a closure. So for some of you, because it's Libra in energy, there could be a professional relationship that's completing, that's closing out. Because it's Libra in energy, it could have to do with a significant one-on-one relationship. It could have to do with feminine energy. Venus rules this full moon. All right. So that means feminine energy, and it doesn't have to be male or female, but it definitely is feminine. Venus is about peace. Venus is about harmony. Venus is about fairness and equality. Fairness and equality. So this could represent a boss that you had at your job, because that 10th house energies also can be the boss, right? I referenced that. Capricorns know how to be the boss, right? So the Libran energy, you could have had a boss that you were close to that's in the 10th house, right? So it could be someone who's an authority figure in your life, even if they're not a boss at your job. It could be you. What if you're the boss at your job? And what if it's not like a complete and total, like it's an end? It doesn't have to be an end to the job. Maybe someone's changing positions. Maybe someone is no longer working in that particular location. Maybe they are being moved to a different location altogether, like a different building, like they're being transferred to the south side, they're being transferred to the north side. And so when those things happen, when we kind of play the musical chairs, locations change, positions change, a new boss comes in. So something is ending, and it has to do, it's tied into what your goals are. What are your ambitions? Because you have Libra energy up at that 10th house, it speaks to significant one-on-one relationships. Now, law could be involved in this because it's the scales of justice. So like lawyer energy, litigation, it's all about, hey, let's talk and let's compromise. There could be something there for some of you. Maybe you work in law in some way, shape, or form, right? Maybe you work with people one-on-one professionally, like sitting down with somebody, whether it's a consultation or a mortgage loan officer, or anytime we sit down with somebody and we're like, we need a consultation one-on-one. That is that as well. Libra wants things to be beautiful, wants things to be fair. They're there to represent, to make sure that fairness happens, right? That both sides are honored, right? That's important. It makes me think of divorce court. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's for you necessarily. I'm just saying in divorce court, each side has someone who's representing them. And we're trying to make sure that, yeah, that somebody's representing my needs, and then someone's looking out for me, right? So on the 5th, that closure, that ending in Libran energy, cardinal energy, right? So that kind of can angle you, Capricorn, and it could angle you in a not so pleasant way. It could, because it's cardinal. And cardinal energy sends other cardinal energies stress and tension automatically. So the degrees matter, and that is at 16 degrees and 7 minutes. Look it up in your chart. If you don't know where that's at, comment to me below and I will help you to figure that out. I will take care of you the best that I can. Now, the next event for this month, for April, is a new moon, but it's a big new moon. It's a cardinal new moon. It is the new moon solar eclipse in Aries. Yes, this is a north node eclipse, so it brings about a brand new beginning that has to do with your future. Where are you headed? Where are you headed, Capricorn? Let me check my notes for you. Capricorn, this is going to be in your 4th house. Aries energy in your 4th house. Something new at home. What are you doing at home? Something is changing. There's some sort of a new beginning there. It's 30 degrees of Aries. That's where this eclipse is at, 30 degrees. So it's got to do with the future of your home, but it isn't just the sticks and bricks when I say home. This is family. This is mom energy, mother wound energy. There's people, especially the 4th house Aries. I know a lot of these people, a lot of Capricorn risings. Some people have moved already. Yeah, where they had an exact degree, they already moved a couple months ago. So anybody who's got matching degrees, they normally feel it the soonest. So it's a 2-degree orb. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and if you need to know, just comment to me below. I can quickly look that up for you in your chart and find out, is this a thing for you or isn't it? Really simple. Yeah. New beginning in the home. Yeah. It's about what you're doing with your future. because it's the North Node solar eclipse. Solar meaning tangible. So this lends to it being the sticks and bricks. It literally lends to, oh my gosh, who's moving? Who's going to a different location? It's a really good possibility. Check your chart, get your chart. Now, when we go to the entire month of April, we have Mars making a move. And this actually began at the end of March. At the end of March, Mars moved into the sign of Cancer, another cardinal energy. So you see how cardinal energies are ruling this entire month. So this is a month of change, of new beginnings across the board for all of us. But for anybody who is like a Capricorn ascendant, an Aries ascendant, a Cancer ascendant, a Libra ascendant, the 4 cardinal signs, you will most likely feel this the strongest. You will most likely see this most clearly and obviously in your life because you're cardinal signs. And so what that sets up is square energy, which can bring stress and frustration. I mean, we all know, how many of you love moving? I hate it. I don't mind the whole idea of being somewhere new. It's just I'm not really good at organizing. Like, that's not one of my things. And that's not my superpower, you know. I'll be the first to say it. It's totally not my superpower. So I can get scattered. Like, I'll start like 7 different projects at one time. You know, I function the way I function with astrology. I can't look at just one little thing. I have to look at everything, and that's just a gift. That's just the way I was born. That's just the way I was born. So what happens is I start looking through stuff like, okay, do I need this? Do I not need this? And then I start reading things, and it turns into an entire long, uh, yeah, it's like a session. It's not just like, okay, we need to move and it becomes a session, and it's like never ending. So it's not it's not one of my strengths. However, getting back to Mars, Mars rules that eclipse I just spoke of, the Aries eclipse. It's Aries, and Mars rules Aries. So it's all about my body. It's all about taking action. And so if you have Mars in your 4th house, which you do, because that's Cancer in your fourth house all of April, which means it sounds like you're being very active in the house. And I said Cancer in the 4th house. You have Aries energy in your 4th house. This is emotions, feelings, and family. The mother wound again comes up. This is moving around and just trying to take care of business, and it could even be something small and simple, like moving furniture even. Yeah, it could be something as simple as that. It's like I'm being very active and I'm switching things up. Now, when we talk about the Mars energy itself, I'm sorry, the Cancer energy itself, this is 7th house energy for you. 7th house. So this is going to create, just so that we're clear, because I know everything got kind of convoluted there, because I brought the fact in that Mars is in Cancer because it is, and then Mars is in Aries because it rules Aries. So I know that's confusing because I'm confused just listening to myself talk, but I'm going to show you this right here. So over here, is your ascendant. Over here is your descendant, which is partnerships. Partnerships. So this is where your Cancer energy is at, in partnerships, your 7th house, and Mars is here for all of April. Down here, your 4th house at home, this is Aries energy. Mars rules Aries. You follow? Mars rules Aries. Okay. So we've got Mars over here and Mars over here, and house number 4 and house number 7. So that's Mars squaring Mars. Lots of energy. Lots of energy. So what this brings about typically is stress and tension with significant relationships. 7th house, partnerships, people that are important to me, people that I make commitments to, people that I will compromise for. 7th house energy, partnerships, business and personal. This can be marriage. Okay. So at home, that can be difficult. Most people that are married are under the same roof, right? And so this can be stress and tension at home with the significant one-on-one partnership, because Mars in the Aries is very fired up and very busy. Mars over here in your 7th house makes it your partner, is fired up, and their emotions, because it's Cancer. So your partner can be very fired up, can be very busy even, but can be impatient, can get irritated very easily, right? So for those of you who are out there with the Capricorn, I'm just going to say you've got your hands full for the month of April, but you also have some beneficial energy. You have beneficial energy because you've got Saturn, which is about rules and restrictions, that just went into Pisces. You also have Pluto that just went into Aquarius, which is air, which will send beautiful, sweet trines to your 10th house of your career, because that's Libra up there for you. So I don't want to make it confusing, but just know that even though everything I'm presenting for April, because I'm just hitting the three big things for this month of April, okay? And in that, you're going to be fine, because what did I talk about at the beginning? Capricorn has no problem working. Capricorn will keep working at it. It's persistent. It's steady. It is the diligent worker. It's the serious worker. It knows quality. It knows integrity. It can be highly ethical. Capricorn on a high level can be highly ethical. If you're a Capricorn, or if you know other Capricorns who aren't operating that way, it means they're kind of operating at some of the base frequencies, for some of the base, more instinctual energy. Okay. And so once we rise up and we get out of that instinctual, we start bringing our heart into it. We start bringing our mind into it. And then we start being an inspiration for others when we're up here operating really high. So Capricorn, I have no doubt that you can become the unicorn and fly for the month of April. If you don't know and you need to know, please comment below. I'll help you out in any way I can. Happy April 2023, Cappy. Bye-bye. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.